Oh, that was weird. Did you guys see that? My computer froze.
I did see that there were like icicles hanging off of it. Right.
What happened exactly? Like, was the countdown just finished and then I don't
The
know. That was really weird.
final
Countdown.
countdown.
I know why folks call me right when I'm starting my show. Like, come on, guys. Don't you know I'm on my show?
Hold up, I'm about to call you.
No, I just put on Do Not Disturb on my computer, so you can't. We're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Board, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. I'm your host today, Lord Starfleet Boy. I am a master of the universe, and I'm joined
Like He-Man?
He-Man.
He-Man, yeah.
And the masters of the universe.
I have the power.
That's right. That's what you guys have to call me, Lord Starfleet Boy, this whole episode. Hello, Joel. Hello, the chatter of inferior weaklings. Worries me. Nice to see you. So we're joined today by the Dadmiral, which is Ian. How's it going? And our
Very
fathery.
well.
I don't know why I called you our fathery, but that's what you are. You're our
It's
fathery.
okay. I'll be y'all's fathery.
And we're supposed to have a couple more guests popping in. I believe the sub commander will decloak in about 10 to 15 minutes.
I am actually Ruben, but I'm giving off the appearance of fathery.
It's your best outfit yet, Ruben.
Yeah.
It's your best outfit yet.
Well,
A
you
lot
got
of
the
effort
like
into
the
it this
voice
week.
down, Ruben. I'm really impressed. Actually, you're a shapeshifter. I feel like we could just shapeshift into. If I were Garth of Izar, I could just shapeshift.
Is it
into
shape
Well,
shifting or is it like a mental projection thing?
I wonder.
It
That's
was-
a good question.
Well, he could manipulate molecules, couldn't he? So it was technically shapeshifting.
Yeah,
But
he
what you
was
got to do
able
is you've got to do like that when you get really, really angry.
That's where that meme is from. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Yay, here we go. We have Lord. Oh, you're also Lord, Martian formerly a pilot. Hey, where's your cosplay? What's going on? No cosplay today?
Oh, my costume today. But of course, Captain. I have all the power here, Starfleet boy.
I love it.
That's perfect.
This is
That was
the first
pretty
costume
genius.
I ever spent money on, by the way.
You went and printed that.
65 cents to print out a picture.
That's amazing. Can we see that? I don't even know where you got that picture of me from. Oh, I know where you got that from.
It's on
Picture of me from. Oh my.
You know what? Not Ruben. You're gonna have to get that. You're gonna have to get it signed by him now, aren't you? Ruben, lots
Sign
of
it
love,
and frame
Starfleet boy.
One of a kind. I'll sell it as an NFT. Star Trek
That looks
NFT.
pretty fungible to me. I mean, that looks pretty fungible to me. I don't know. Very nice.
Oh, brilliant.
Man. I was going to say a joke, but it's an after dark joke.
Okay, yeah,
Oh
we'll save that
my.
for the after dark. Very cool. Well, welcome. We're while we're waiting for our sub commander to decloak, let's get going with an episode summary. Father, you want to give this one?
Not really, but I'll do it.
Thank you.
But the Enterprise visits a planet that is home to Governor Corey and his efforts of rehabilitating the remaining, I think, 15 criminally insane individuals, I guess, within the Federation.
That's insane.
The
way.
The ones that they haven't been able to treat. However, the tables turn quickly when Kirk and Spock beam down, and it turns out that the crazies are running the crazy house, if I can use some outdated terminology there.
Yeah.
And Garth of Izar, the once famous Starfleet captain who won the heroic Battle of Axanar, has taken over. He has shapeshifted into Governor Corey, and he's trying to assume the identity of Kirk so that he may take command of the Enterprise and escape the planet. However, Scotty and Kirk have a code system where Kirk must have the correct response to Queen's level 3, I believe, in order to pass their little security check and get beamed up. So Garth spends a lot of time trying to get the information out of Kirk, including trying to seduce him with Batgirl, then blowing up Batgirl, impersonating Spock. And eventually, though, Spock and Kirk are able to outsmart Garth, and Spock figures out who the imposter Kirk is and who the correct Kirk is, and he stuns the right Kirk. And then Governor Corey is able to resume his rehabilitation efforts. And we end with Garth hopefully being cured and Batgirl still dead.
Well done. It's sad that you mentioned Batgirl again, though.
Yvonne Craig, who she
Yes.
plays the Orion Marta, but is probably best known for the performance of Barbara Gordon / Batgirl in the 60s Batman TV show.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I loved her in this episode. She plays Crazy really well. And
She's a lot of fun.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun.
You didn't write that. It was written by an Earthman named Shakespeare. Well, that doesn't alter the fact that I wrote it again yesterday.
Blue says Arkham
Undeniable
Asylum
logic,
in
I must
space.
say.
What's
It is
that?
very much Arkham Asylum in
It's
space.
undeniable logic. You know, like, hey, I wrote it. He wrote it 400 years ago, but I wrote it down just yesterday.
Yeah, she ain't
Oh, I
wrong.
love Batty Girl. That's a good name. That's really fun. What about the Dagger of the Mind Gang? Not criminally insane.
Or they've
I
been.
guess.
That was 2 years ago, so maybe they've all been treated. They've all been cured.
Cured. Yeah, it is interesting that Star Trek, was wishfully thinking that one day mental illness could just be cured with like one injection.
I don't want to spoil Picard for people that aren't current on it, but I just want to
Right.
say, like, I really need to know what's going on with Yvette Picard if she was having some mental illness. Like, they seem to be pretty much on top of this stuff. 70 years before that, as seen in this episode.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to find out. So yeah, tune in tomorrow and we can talk more about it, or tune in yesterday on Text. Go back
Tune in
in
yesterday.
time.
You gotta go fly around the sun and go back in time
And
if you
go
want to catch
back
it
in
live.
time. Or you can just
Otherwise,
watch
though,
the
you can just
replay.
watch the replay or listen to the podcast.
Podcast on Monday, exactly. So you
Garth
can
is
hear
going to
some
be the
thoughts.
board queen from episode 1.
Well, I do remember when Discovery
He's going to be
was
like, "Bow, wow, 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 wow."
when Discovery was getting started. Everyone thought that Jason Isaacs, Captain Lorca, was going to turn out to be Garth of Izar.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. I was one
People
of
were
those
obsessed
people.
I
over
could see
that.
Yeah, it's true.
He would have been
The-
good for it, too.
He would have been great as
Yeah, he would've
Garth.
been great.
They have a kind of a similar a look to him, a similar kind of vibe, I think. Yeah, it's true. But what is so compelling about Garth of Izar, because there was a lot of chatter about him. Here in the episode, they establish him as one of the greatest captains, fleet captains ever. They mention that he's discovered more worlds than anyone, like he discovered more planets or something like that than anyone at this point. He's kind of this is another example of Star Trek, the original series, showing us like a past great captain gone insane, basically, right? Like this is like kind of who was the guy in who's that other captain in
Oh
the
yeah,
with
with
the
the
episode,
Yangs, the Yangs and the
Yangs,
Combs.
yeah.
Oh,
I forget his name.
it's the same guy who played Van Gilder. Speaking
Yeah,
of
Van
Dagger of the
Gilder, yeah,
Mind.
that's him. Speaking
Tracy,
of,
Ron Tracy.
Ron Tracy, yeah. So speaking
it.
of which, speaking of another insane,
He wasn't really insane. I think he was just an asshole.
He was just an a-hole, yeah. But then, but also we had like Decker, I guess, right? Like
Commodore Decker. He
Commodore Decker,
he was
yeah.
kind of
Warning-
put in a
it's a
shitty
warning of-
situation.
It's that warning of too much power in small few hands, like these Starfleet captains have like an arsenal at their disposal as they're flying around space, and so like that power sort of corrupts them, or some of them anyway.
Yeah, you can't say that about Decker. Decker went mad because he lost all his crew because he put them on the
True.
planet and the planet was destroyed. So you can't really, I don't think you can put him in the same league as Garth of Izar.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And even Garth of Izar, it was kind of an accident that made him go
Yeah,
cuckoo.
Yeah, because he got given these powers to heal himself, that it just made him go mad and want everything and be
This is an episode
master
I
of the
always-
universe.
I always want to like this one more. Like the idea of like Arkham Asylum in space. That sounds like really cool. Like there actually is like a Batman comic where like the Joker and all the villains take over Arkham Asylum, and they have Batman's trying to escape from them. It's very similar to this. But there's a lot of good use of the universe. They have the environmental suits from the Thulian web. They have an Endorian and a Tellarite and an Orion running around.
Yeah.
There's cool Spock Kirk stuff. But I can never enjoy this episode as much as I feel like I should. It drags on for too long. It's one of those season 3 episodes that I think would work better in the animated series if they cut it down a bit shorter. It's I feel like the Garth insanity stuff, it's kind of interesting at first, but then you just see like the same things over and over again, and you just keep seeing it like the rest of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, it really should have been a chess match between Garth and trying to get that answer out of Kirk, like the queen's the queen, whatever the answer was. It should have been like a lot more, because I feel like this episode has one of the best openings. You know, it's like Batman walking into Arkham for something, you know, and then finding out, oh shit, the Joker's taking over the whole thing. Now I'm the prisoner. You know, like that's great. That's like I was like, oh man, when the episode started, I was like, holy cow, because I didn't really remember what happened the rest of the episode, and then the rest of the episode plays out, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it fizzles out quickly.
It's cool that they show like different, like the Andorian, and like they have like different little minions for him, which I thought was neat.
Yeah, there's good little tidbits in the script, like they talk about like, oh, how did we defeat the Romulans? We did like the Cochrane reversal, and it's like, oh look, yeah, they're acknowledging Romulans, they're acknowledging Zephram Cochrane, they're acknowledging Thulian Web, they're acknowledging Orions from the Menagerie. So they're using a lot of cool stuff from the universe, but it just the actual ups and downs of the plot just drag out and.
Yeah, it just falls a bit flat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like the threat level kind of hits peak really quickly, and then doesn't really go anywhere from there. Garth is a cool villain. If you think about it, I was like, wow, this dude willed himself to know how to shape change. That's insane. That's a cool villain, though. Ex-captain gone crazy, but he's still a genius, like a mad genius. Like, but yeah, it doesn't. They're just like, yeah, okay, we don't got the money to do anything with this anymore.
I did think that the like maybe you could cut out that dinner scene or something like that to make the episode. It's like an hour episode almost. Like it was like right, like it was one of the longer ones.
They're all about 50 minutes.
50 minutes,
all
yeah.
of the original series because they didn't have as many commercials back then.
Right. But I do think that there was a lot of good like chess matching between Garth and Kirk, like that first time when when Garth first attempts to beam aboard the Enterprise, and Scotty's like, you know, I need the code or whatever, and then he's like, okay, I was just testing you, and he like puts him on hold and then goes nuts. Like it's like that.
Oh my god!
And then he concocts a plan, but Kirk defeats him. Like
when he turns into Spock, that's the best part.
Yeah,
because you're watching that, and then I remember the first time I saw this, I thought that Garth was Kirk again, and that he like staged the whole thing to where like he's making out with Yvonne Craig so that Spock would come rescue him.
Right.
And then when he's like no, Spock, you give the code sign, and then you're like, oh look, he's that's not Kirk, that's Garth again. But then it's like, no, Garth was Spock. I thought that was like a pretty good fake out. Yeah,
that was totally a good fake out. There were a lot of cool little things that I feel like someone must have watched this episode when making Star Trek movies, because like the whole no uncoded messages.
They bring that back in Star Trek 2.
Right.
Star Trek 6,
does the clone.
Yeah, shoot him, not me. Like, they do that again.
Must have been your lifelong ambition.
Kirk on Kirk effect looked great in the digital.
Yeah, for the time, right? Like I did see the stuntman at one point.
Yeah, but at least this stuntman looked more like Kirk than normally. We've
shown. I mean, the one shot that they do where it's Kirk facing Kirk.
Yeah,
that looked really good. Where they did that.
Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to edit that because you have to shoot, each one of those. Shatner has to play both of them separate, and then you have to splice it in together.
Yeah,
I've experimented with that type of stuff.
They couldn't do it digitally back then. They actually literally had to cut out one Kirk from one frame and overlay with the other Kirk. It's so crazy.
Reverse it, right? Like,
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah, not reverse it, but
No,
yeah,
no, it's
like what
I
you
forget what they
said.
call
Yeah,
it. I forget what they call it. But you basically have to, like, in Photoshop. You have to,
composite. It's a composite.
yeah,
It's a
composite.
cut and splice type of
Yeah,
thing.
you have to cut out one. You have to cut out the negative on one frame and then overlay with the, and then do the opposite in the other frame and then stick them together and then it looks like they're.
Our
But then
friend
they
Trek on
digitally
the Tube
remastered it too.
does
So on top of that, it looked really good.
really
It's
good.
like when a Mirror Universe Dave and Fathery encountered the Prime Universe Dave
Oh,
and
you guys did
Fathery
it
on
too.
Text
That's
Track.
right.
Mind you, but that's not the first time you had Kirk and Kirk, because you had it with the Enemy Within as well.
Right.
Right.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. But this was
But
like
did you also
this was like similar to Star Trek 6 where it's a shapeshifter type,
Yeah. Yeah.
situation. But what were you going to say, Ian?
did you also notice that Garth of Izar's outfit is Commodore Ferris Presley from Galileo 7? It's the same outfit Commodore
cool.
as Commissioner Ferris from Galileo 7.
Oh yeah, the dude who's like, you don't have time to look for Spock and McCoy. We got to get the f out of here.
Oh yeah, it totally is the same uniform. That's cool.
It's like this episode could have used first a scene in the beginning to give some reason for the whole Queens 3 thing, because it's very out of the blue, random. There's no build up. There's no setup for it.
They typically don't do that when they beam down on an away mission.
Right. So it's very odd and out of the blue that they do that. So there should have been something at the beginning, just a little scene of like Kirk having a bad feeling about the place or something, and just telling Scotty, "Hey, you know what? Just in case, general order or whatever." And then the Queen thing happens later on. So then there's like, oh,
Mind you, they are going into an insane asylum, so I could, you could say if if the inmates are going to start running, the lunatics are taking over the asylum.
I mean, it's supposedly
as
a peaceful
phase,
mission where nothing's going to happen, but it is an insane asylum. So just in case, Scotty, hey, that little thing we talked about, the security thing, let's do that today. Just in case.
And criminally insane. So it's like more of like a prison or a penal colony type.
And then
of
that
place, yeah.
dinner scene should have been like almost like a literal chess match with words between Kirk and Garth. Garth trying to get the answer somehow. I don't know. I'd have to think about how to write that. That would require some time, but
Yeah.
that's what I feel like it should have been, because then that dinner scene is simple, and then Garth should get the Enterprise at one point.
In Garth it's a little weird to try to figure out like how well maintained his faculties are, because sometimes he does seem like really clever, but then he'll have like these weird outbursts remove this animal, and it's just like
he hits the console thing. He's like,
But I love the way that Shatner played Garth when he was doing his temper tantrum.
I'll kick in the chair and.
And I like the bridge stuff when they cut back to Scotty and McCoy and Uhura and Sulu, and just like seeing them all doing like different jobs, like Scotty being the captain, and then Uhura like running over to Spock's science station and like looking through the scanner and stuff, doing things that they typically like wouldn't get to do because Shatner and Nimoy would be there doing it.
Right.
So I like that.
The other thing I liked was just Scotty was pretty awesome in this episode. Period. Like I think he was great as a captain. I loved all the ship stuff too. And McCoy. I feel like everyone was in this episode, right? Like I feel McCoy.
Chekhov.
Was
Well, no
Chekhov.
Chekhov.
Right.
No Chekhov.
Walter Koenig was doing a play or something when they were shooting
That's
this.
awesome. We just saw Walter Koenig. It was pretty awesome.
We did. I got to ask him a question on my birthday. That was fun.
I know. I saw that. I saw that. Yeah. Did you feel that though when they're on the bridge that they just cut to Uhura and she says something and it's like they totally ignore everything she just said because they're all staring at the screen and she's there on the scanner and she says, "Oh, I can't remember that after the explosion. Oh no, there's still people there," and they just totally blank everything she just said. And I'm thinking, "Oh, poor Uhura."
She's like,
she's gone over to the science station.
I'm at the science station. I'm giving you exposition. It's important. Like there should be a close up on me, and then everyone's reaction.
But there was no reaction.
That's true. I forgot about that. But overall, yeah, I think this was like I'm surprised every week. I guess I just had like really low expectations of season 3, and I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was really fun. Like I thought the performers got to do things that I guess they typically wouldn't do. The dinner scene did seem like very Batman. Like it could have been easily in Batman, like with like the
Super
Joker,
theatrical.
and yeah, it was very theatrical, but it had
Amazingly
that
theatrical.
quality. I like how like they lit her green when she was doing the Shakespeare
and the
sonnet.
dance, yeah.
Yeah, and the dance. Oh, that was a little weird and cringy. Like Vulcan children do those sexy dances.
Well, I don't-
like what the
I mean,
hell?
Spock says they're not as coordinated.
Yeah, they're
I
not
think-
as coordinated, but I
Yeah.
feel
I
like
think there
Spock
are
was
some-
trolling them. I feel like
I love
Spock-
that. I
I
love
kind
that
of took it as him
conversation,
making
though.
fun of it.
Yeah,
I like Nimoy's performance there, where you get the sense like him like observing this and just like his comments on there, and I don't know, I kind of like picturing like the nursery school Vulcan children like clumsily like dancing around. I don't know, I think
doing
that's
like
just kind
these
of
moves
funny.
and stuff like that. Yeah,
But I also
guess
love the
it's
banter there with Izar when he's like when she's like, I am the most beautiful woman on this planet. He's like, you're the only woman on this planet, you stupid cow. It's just like
Stupid cow.
then he ends up blowing her up, which is
Yeah, I mean, that stupid cow bit is such a British thing.
Is that a
'Cause
British
you know,
thing?
That was hardcore.
yeah. It was, because growing up, in the amount of times you could hear "you stupid cow," and it's not a very nice thing to say to
That's when
somebody, but
when we were
it's
growing up here, we would call fat people heifers.
Oh, we
Remember
did.
oh yeah,
when
yeah. I
we did
remember
heifer,
people saying that a lot in like the
which is kind of like a cow.
early '90s.
Basically calling someone a cow.
yeah.
Except
Cows are beautiful in
weirder
India. We
and
worship
longer
them as
because we're
gods. So, but anyways, yeah, he was really mean and stuff like that. But I think Spock was definitely at his sassy level was high. I also liked Spock's double neck pinch. Did we ever see that before? Like that was the first, right? Like
Double neck pinch.
when they
Because he's when they've got the Andorian in there and he just goes boom
Oh,
because
and he like
he
grabs them.
pretends to be knocked
yeah.
out.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah,
they're
he pretends-
dragging him, and then he just like neck pinches them both. It's true.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I mean, it's just like again, lots of little cool moments in this episode. I think this is one that I completely forgot most of what happens in too. So it felt like I was watching it for the first time as well. Even though I knew about it, I remembered as a kid. I remembered the crazy Garth stuff and the double Kirk. The Kirk fighting himself thing and. Just little bits like that, but it was cool to watch it and just see. The writer of this episode, by the way, is Lee Irwin wrote the teleplay, and Jerry Soule did the story for this. And of course, Gene Roddenberry, as we found out from Walter Koenig, would probably have been very involved in it. And
well, not
changed
in
whatever.
season 3.
Not in season 3. Okay.
You say that about Kirk. Poor Kirk in this one. He's in the chair, obviously doing in his mind. He gets stunned. He gets smacked over the back of the head with a phaser. And then he has a fight, and he's wondering. And Spock's got all this, and he's saying, because obviously at the end of the fight with Garth of Izar, he said, "Oh yeah, I knew you lose."
Oh yeah, that was funny too. The little banter at the end, where he was like, "Yeah, I told you."
But if
Spock
you-
was like sassy
Oh,
supreme.
and sorry, and then he stops Marta from stabbing him as well. So there's a lot that actually happens to Kirk. You think anybody else would be, that's it. I've had enough. I can't take
Speaking
anymore.
of Marta, that was like really. I feel like that was pretty like crazy what they did to her. What Garth did, like that was like pretty. That's like heavy stuff, I think, for Star Trek. Like they showed her exploding, and it was done a lot like you see those like Vietnam or World War II. Stepping on
Landmine explosion, yeah.
explosions. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
crazy. It actually shocked me. I didn't remember it was gonna happen, and when it happened, I was like, man, this guy's like batshit crazy. Like, he just like totally exploded her. It was nuts.
I guess it does add a little bit more to the overall threat, because it does kind of feel like a little bit. You're like, yeah, you keep saying you're gonna like torture Kirk and Spock to death or kill them, but like you're not really doing it. But I guess I blew up the green girl, so there you go.
Unhinged. Do you guys think that we talk a lot in about modern Star Trek, people killing people and then rehabilitating them and then everything's fine, they don't get a trial or anything like that.
It is
and
kind of
it's-
messed up. It's like consequence free at the end, but I mean, I
yeah.
guess it makes sense the fact that like he was not well, and then he's treated later.
And he seems to not remember anything. So when he sees the tapes and
That's
what he's
convenient,
done, I
yeah.
wonder. Yeah, I wonder how he's gonna.
He's gonna go
What
crazy
happens to
again.
Garth after this? Like,
Yeah,
can he ever go
become-
back to commanding a starship? Can he ever be like the same functional
No.
person in society that he was before?
I think his mental
Nah.
illness may have been solved, but I mean, he's gonna have to deal with the consequences of all of his actions because I'm sure she's not the only person that he harmed. And
Well,
yeah,
I get the
Yeah,
feeling that he probably murdered a fair few people when they went up against him on the ship. I got a feeling he probably phasered quite a few of them. Yeah, and when they said that the decadent whatever he was calling them. But yeah, I got a feeling he probably killed a few people when they tried to take over the ship from him.
I want to see the trial of Garth. I want it. Marcelo, are you listening to this?
Well, they might mention Garth of Izar or even have him show up in Strange New Worlds, I guess. He's probably like an active captain during that time.
It'd be neat to see
be.
him in a state before his insanity, maybe, because
Yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah, it'd be cool.
Garth the younger years.
Yeah. There's a we don't want to give too much of a highlight to it, but there was a fan production that focused on this character, which was a disaster because there's like too much like weird stuff involved in it. But I thought that was interesting that was
Ruined
who they
fan
chose.
films for everybody.
The problem is
know.
after he learned the shapeshifting, he became the best method actor of all time. But he got so into a role that he went insane, and then that's what landed him in the. This is the TV show I'm pitching. See, Paramount, are you listening?
Coming to Paramount Plus this fall.
Paramount Plus. Garth the younger years.
Batty Girl says, yeah, Strange New Worlds could show him slightly slipping. Yeah, that might be an interesting, like maybe how he becomes incarcerated. And I like Joel here. After rehabilitation, Garth is reunited with Wayne of Izar.
Oh, let's have some Wayne's World. Strange New Wayne's World.
Strange New Wayne's World with Bohemian Rhapsody still.
I feel like this is this what Star Trek Starfleet Boy has become?
Whoa!
Head banging in the shuttle going. That's Bohemian Rhapsody.
There's a Star Trek parody of Bohemian Rhapsody.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta find that afterwards. It's cool.
Not seen that. I'll have to
I mean,
see
it
that.
is the kind of episode Strange New Worlds could take and do a lot with.
Yeah.
In an
I suppose in
updated-
Strange New Worlds he would be a fleet captain, wasn't he? He would be fleet captain then.
You know, a captain, an honored captain, goes crazy, kills some people, whatever, gets thrown into some military prison for evaluation. They're gonna try some new thing. What's his name? Pike is old friends or something with the captain, or has to deliver the scientist that's going to examine him, and that's why they're there. And then it turns out, no, this guy took over the whole damn thing while before they even got there, and then boom, wackiness ensues. Ensign Mount's awesome. The episode ends, and we're all like, "Fuck yeah, Star
Wow,
Trek's back,
I
baby!"
see someone's so hyped for Strange New Worlds. I can't wait till
May
it,
5th, right?
Yeah, I can't wait to see Ruben finally enjoying a modern Star Trek show. It might actually happen. This might actually happen, guys. Like
Well,
you
we'll
heard
see.
it here first. Yeah.
Strange New Worlds.
That's gonna be the opening theme song.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose my shit if we get to the opening credits of that show and it starts with Anson Mount going space, the final frontier.
Can't.
I think Ruben's he's going already.
I'm gonna. Yeah, that's why I'm gonna watch it alone in the dark.
In the dark, no one can see you.
I remember
cry.
when I watched Star Trek 2009 with my friend Pat. Shout out to Pat Punkpy. Sawadi. He and I held hands through the whole movie.
Wow.
Yeah, we were
That's
so excited
sweet.
for it
That's
that we
so
held hands
sweet.
through the whole movie.
Like Spock and Kirk in
Yeah.
Star Trek: The Motion Picture. That's very sweet. You guys felt something. And then, how long after the hype did you start critiquing Star Trek 2009 and tearing it apart? like you did for Picard.
Well, I didn't entirely love 2009, but I was fine with it because I understood what it was trying to do. You know, as
It's
far
trying to
as
be popcorn Star Trek.
yeah,
And
no,
it
and reintroducing the
succeeds.
franchise to a whole new generation and a new style of movie making because filmmaking has changed. It always changes. So I understood that. But I said, in part two, they can now slow it down a little bit, add in a little bit more of traditional Trek, boring, smart Trek, whatever you want to call it. And then they didn't do that. So that's
That
when it
ain't
all
what they
started
did.
to go
That's kind of what they
downhill.
did with Beyond, though.
They tried, yeah.
Yeah, Beyond they did. Yeah, Beyond they tried.
I got a text message with a link to the section on Memory Alpha that says this is the only episode where Spock performs a simultaneous double Vulcan nerve pinch on two distinct alien species. So
The
yeah,
only
it's like-
episode so far.
so far, it's true.
He's actually in Strange New World. He's going to do a triple neck pinch. He's going to use both hands and his foot on a third person's neck. Yeah, he's going to use his toes to pinch someone's neck.
Apparently, Garth can give toes. I just realized what you said. It took me a second. A neck pinch with your toes. Wow. In this episode, Garth also successfully does a neck pinch, but I guess Martha could have been faking. Martha could have been faking it and performing to a degree, perhaps. But who knows? Like maybe Garth does know how to do that. This is cool. I should have looked at this Memory Alpha article before. There's a lot of cool stuff here. This was the first episode produced without a co-producer who had been Robert Justman, who had been with the series in different capacities since the production of The Cage.
Since day one.
In 1964. He left the series to work on other projects, specifically the series. Then came Bronson, according to the book Inside Star Trek.
He saw the writing on the wall that this
I
show
saw
wasn't going to last
Wikipedia
much
that
longer.
apparently this episode was banned in the UK for like a minute.
Really?
Yeah, because of the torture and the
Oh, okay.
and what they do to Martha.
Fine.
But that was a Wikipedia information, so take it for what you. I did not go dig deeper into that.
Very nice. Hey, our friend Amy Nelson's in the audience. I use Memory Alpha all the time. Great resource. Yes, it is a great resource, and Wikipedia is too. I feel like a lot of the information is on like both of those, but I didn't pull it up this time.
You know, we said about the timing. Sorry, guys. You said about the timing, and it felt a bit too long. What is it? Just the dinner scene you would have cut, or would there have been anything else you would have thought to speed it
Actually,
up?
I like the dinner scene, so I think I would have cut out some of like Garth's attempts at
Coronation.
trickery in the second half of the episode.
To me, it didn't drag, but the reason I mentioned the dinner scene is I would cut it down if I had to cut any scene because I liked all the subterfuge and the trying to get Kirk to give up the code and all the trickery. I actually enjoyed that. How about you,
Ruben?
I don't know if I would have cut more than just like rewritten things in certain ways. Just made it more. Like really, just the biggest problem of the episode is the stakes hit the peak so early on that nothing else really matters after that. It's just a matter of when Kirk is going to win. So it's like there's no escalation to any of it. So that's what kind of to me makes it feel a little bit draggy because it's like you get to the almost OMG moment pretty early on. I mean, I guess the Martha thing later on is pretty effed up too, but like. I don't know if I would have cut anything, just done more with what they had. I mean, this is me also judging it based on modern TV philosophy and sophistication and stuff, so it's a little unfair. It was interesting to me how this is season 3, they're cutting back on budget, but they had all those costumes, they had all this, very big variety. That prison set, I don't know, did they reuse that from something before? Or
That's a set they used.
That's
before.
a set they
They
use
just
kind of commonly. Okay.
Yeah, they redressed it. I think all the wardrobe was pre-existing. Like the Endorian and Tellarite prosthetics already existed, so they were using a lot of things that they'd already built.
Like I would have liked to have seen Garth be like almost like a Khan level villain, where he defeats Kirk at one point in the episode, and looks like he's about to win and take the Enterprise and take it all, and then. But then again, this is me rewriting a story that was written 60 years ago, and there's not much you could do about it. But so that's what kind of like to me is like it has so much potential because I really love the intro. I really love the setup of this crazy captain who's still, kind of like the Joker. The Joker's crazy, but he's also a genius, and somehow pulls off these insane plans, even though he's insane, And so it would have been interesting, but
that would have been a nifty twist because, Garth is so convinced that like he can, he can do this, and like Sub Commander has decloaked in the chat, and he says, this is kind of the same point a little bit, but. So he says, not a big fan of this one, but I love the back and forth between Kirk, Spock, and Garth about the ideals of the Federation being brothers. Yeah, so like that would have been interesting if he used the ideals of the Federation to to actually go further in his plan, like forcing people to defend the weak and the helpless. You know what I mean? Like more of that, like, kind of like maybe he could have projected to Scotty and McCoy Marta being under threat, because really what could Kirk do except give the code, right? You know what I mean? But like maybe if Garth had involved, like it could have gone in that other level where like he's like, okay, well I can't get the code from you, let me see if I can force your people to just go ahead and do it, and instead of putting Marta out there, maybe putting Spock out there or something like that,
and maybe in the Strange New Worlds version Garth gets away at the end, you bring him back in season 6, right? And then the show goes on for another 4 seasons with Garth as
Dang, you're like all about Garth.
Sorry. My dream Strange New Worlds feels like Luke Skywalker to me in Empire Strikes Back.
But yeah, I also agree with.
I guess they could show Garth maybe like go crazy in Strange New Worlds, and then like Pike like captures him, and that's why he's incarcerated here.
Yeah.
The sub-commander is also saying didn't like Stephen Inhat's performance personally, just too one-dimensional. And yeah, I would say that like I kind of, now that you guys are talking about it, it's like I would say that like being like this like amazing fleet captain with this like one for the right. Kirk is like standard reading at like the academy, that kind of thing. Like. He could still be insane but also show cunning, which would be interesting. Like so yeah, I kind of agree with that assessment.
I don't think they find like the right balance. It's hard for me to wrap my head around. But that is a good conversation that the sub commander is bringing up about Kirk and Spock and the quest for peace and the diplomacy and fostering relationships with other people, and that's what allowed this boy from Iowa and this boy from Vulcan to think of each other as brothers, or I guess more than brothers, depending on who you ask. But the terminology they use on screen is brothers. So
you mean your brother?
Peace mission. Garth says peace mission. Politicians and weaklings. Kirk, they were humanitarians and statesmen. And they had a dream that became a reality and spread through the stars, a dream that made Mr. Spock and me brothers. Garth, Mr. Spock, do you consider Captain Kirk and yourself brothers? Spock, Captain Kirk speaks somewhat figuratively and with undue emotion. However, what he says is logical, and I do, in fact, agree with it.
Nice. How'd you pull that up? Do you have the script there?
I have the script open every week.
Oh, really? That's fantastic. Oh, wow.
There's some website that has them.
Yeah, it's the
Roddenberry
right?
archives. The Chakotay site too.
Chakotay.
Yeah, it's cool. Very nice, Ruben. You feel free to read lines anytime you want on the show. That's kind of fantastic.
There's always a good one. I give TOS, no matter the episode, there's always at least one good line in every episode. So you're like, that's pretty interesting. That's an interesting thought. But like, see, there's another season 3 episode that I wouldn't say it's not a great episode. It's not stellar, whatever, 8, 9 episode, whatever out of 10. But it's also not a terrible episode. It's not like an episode where I roll my eyes like I don't want to watch it, or like I still don't see this steep drop off that everybody's been talking about, that's famously talked about.
There's a couple coming up. You're gonna see it.
Yeah. No, like Spock's brain was like big, but then like after that, it was it levels off. It seems to have leveled off a little bit.
Yeah,
I think
we're in
Yeah,
for
the lights,
It's a
the
bit-
lights of Zetar, and that which survives.
Like the
are-
next
are
one I know
both-
is another
Yeah.
good one.
What's the next one again?
The
The next one's a
Battlefield-
really good one.
Yeah,
let that be your
Experience
last
Battle-
battlefield.
Oh
It's
yeah,
been your last Battlefield,
yeah,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's a really good one. The interesting implication of that convo is that it implies the Federation is a recent innovation. Yeah, I mean, it certainly was in terms of like the creation of it and the fleshing out of it, like in terms of the show, like right. It went from like, you know, space patrol or whatever to like the service, and then the Federation like slowly has been like becoming a thing. So, but yeah, I wonder. I guess Enterprise establishes that the Federation started with Archer.
No,
so
it
it's
didn't.
like-
Enterprise
No,
didn't establish
sorry.
that. That was well established long before that.
Oh, that it was with Archer.
No, but that that Starfleet first existed in 2161.
What about the Federation
Um,
though?
I'm not. I think that might have been some of the written material in between. Like something that came out in the 70s. Was that in what's the book that had like the Federation logo on it?
it's the black-
the
the
man
black-
in the woman's face.
The technical manual.
Might have been in there. I don't know.
Or is it the ones? Is it the aliens? The aliens book.
You're talking about this book,
Yeah.
Starfleet Technical Manual. This is the 1966 to 1986 version of it. So this was last revised in 86, I guess. But yeah, I love there's the United Federation of Planets pennant.
I know, like,
Yeah.
certainly by the time of the Next Generation in '87,
You know UFP?
they had established the United Federation of Planets formed
Look, guys,
in the
here's some,
22nd century.
Here's some NFTs you could buy. I mean,
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm gonna have to reenact what some people said it did in Chicago. Then
yes, it's true. There was so much bad will towards the NFT people. I felt really bad for them because they were just doing
Wait,
their
so
job.
Amy's-
no, I know. I don't think you should feel bad for him. It's not needed in Star Trek. It's,
No, I agree.
Yeah, I would not feel bad.
Amy says, so you're saying we had Starfleet created first and then the Federation? I hadn't thought about that.
Well, there was like two different Starfleets. There's like the Earth Starfleet we see at Enterprise, which starts in the year 2251. I'm sorry, 2151, and then there is like a Federation Starfleet that, because of the Academy, the Academy logo Michael Kuda designed in Star Trek: Next Generation, it has like the Roman numerals for the year 2161. So that's like, and that's when at some point they established that's when the Federation forms. That's like the new Federation Starfleet has existed since the Federation formed in 2161.
Right.
But before that, there's like a Earth Starfleet that Archer and the NX-01 Enterprise belong to.
Columbia and yeah.
Right. It's kind of like, the UK has their fleet, the US has our fleet, but when we're combined forces, it's still a fleet. Like they just use the same terminology, basically, Starfleet. From one, that's what you're saying, right? Like the Earth had Starfleet, then the Federation formed, and they just used the same name, Starfleet.
But that is an interesting. I'm trying to figure out now, like, when did they first establish like the origin point of the Federation? I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna check with Brian. He's pretty up to
good
date on a lot of
knows all that stuff.
the old literature.
Do you guys know the title of this episode, like the complete line? It's a Greek proverb, like an ancient Greek proverb.
No, what's
I saw it on the Wikipedia
the
page.
entire thing?
Whom the gods would destroy, they first make mad. So it's very fitting.
Well, the original series had the best episode titles. Like
Yeah, it really does.
I love
That's
true.
the enticing and theatric titles like "Whom Gods Destroy."
This be your last battlefield.
Like if this was a Next
Yeah.
Generation episode or a Voyager episode, it would have been called like Madness or something like that.
Asylum.
Yeah.
It would have been like a very like uninspired, like single word forgettable title.
It would have been called that. Asylum. Crazy House.
Yeah. It's odd for like an average episode that you get so much. I mean, a lot of people know Garth of Izar.
Yeah,
A
and I
lot of
think
people know that character's name.
I think it's
Maybe I
because of
know because of what
Axanar.
happened
Yeah, I
later,
think so
because of
too.
Axanar.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it's still elements of this is still taken out. You know,
What
from
was
this
the
average
speech
episode.
that Archer gave in These Are the Voyages that wasn't Formation of the Federation? Jill's asking.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Admiral
in
Admiral Archer.
2161.
Gotcha.
And, but yeah, the speech that we don't get to hear because they turned it into like a backdoor Next Generation B story. It wasn't even like a full Next Generation episode. It's like the B story of a Next Generation episode.
Here's a nice little bullet point. Kirk tells Spock that he doubts King Solomon would have approved of the Vulcans' manner of determining who was Kirk and who was Garth. The two of them and Dr. McCoy would meet Solomon, an immortal human who was born a Karen and was then living as Flint, and not long afterwards in the TOS, the Requiem for Methuselah. Similarly, Garth had earlier referred to Alexander the Great, another of Flint's assumed identities. So that's kind of cool.
Maybe Flint was also Lee Kwan, whoever that is.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Garth drops in a couple of names, including a fictitious.
I always assumed Lee Kwan is a World War III villain.
Yeah.
That's not the first time that Lee Kwan's been mentioned either, is it?
And
I
then
think it's been...
after that, he says Kratos, I think, or Crotus.
Crotus, is that Klingon, right?
Well, I don't think we know who that is. I was thinking,
okay.
what if that's like the Romulan Praetor during the Earth Romulan War?
Oh, that might be. It's true. That's a good Romulan name as well.
The subcommander is talking about the United Earth Space Probe Agency, or YESPA, or ESPA, however you say it. That's what they were saying in season 1 before they came out with Starfleet.
Very nice.
Which is what the Friendship 1 probe in Voyager had like the Earth Space Probe Agency.
Oh, it did.
Logo on it.
What about Nomad?
No, I guess Nomad was just like an American, it's just like a NASA probe.
Yeah, which I guess we get that established in Picard, not established, but referenced in Picard. Yeah,
or confirmed. Yeah. You get it confirmed in Picard. Yeah, good old Nomad, that wacky space probe out there. You know, like everyone talks about V'ger all the time, but Nomad was Nomad is like the Heathcliff to the Garfield with V'ger. Like that was like the OG, but it never got near the amount of recognition.
No.
This is another interesting bullet point on Memory Alpha. Despite the apparent success of the drug in this episode being able to cure the mental illness of Garth and the other inmates, it seems never to have been employed again. In future episodes of TOS, the Enterprise crew encounters characters who are pronounced insane, such as Dr. Severin from The Way to Eden, Lenore Caridian from The Conscience of the King, and Janice Luster from Turnabout Intruder, but no mention is made.
Conscience of the King is before this.
Yeah,
so
it's before that.
I don't know why they brought
Memory
that up.
Alpha.
Yeah,
Get it right,
right.
Memory Alpha. But no mention is made of using the drug introduced in the episode to cure them.
Yeah, I mean, they need to get Yvette Picard some of this stuff.
Some of this stuff, yeah. It could be, however, that this drug was only successful in the treatment of criminal homicidal insanity and not all mental illness generally. That's a good point. I like that. That's a good point. All right, Memory Alpha, I like that.
The one thing I just didn't quite get is how he forgot everything when he supposedly cured.
He was just
He
acting
just
like
forgets.
he forgot. He just didn't want to. He just didn't want to like talk about it. So he's like, "Oh yes, I don't remember anything. I totally don't remember murdering those
Coming back
people."
in Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, have I not met you before? You're a captain. Nice to meet you, captain, and all that stuff. Just found that a little bit odd.
I found it odd that
surely
he
they
had
have
two
memories.
different colored boots.
Oh yeah, the green and yellow, or was it blue and yellow?
Blue
or...
and I think it was blue and green. or
He's
something
mad.
like that.
He's mad.
Yeah.
Starfleet boy. But it is kind of a rare thing, you know, in the 1960s, and even, you know, years later, it's still kind of a rare thing that you don't have to have like the bad guy be punished at the end. And I think it is like a little awkward. Oh yeah, like he just like blew someone up, and we're just gonna, I guess, kind of forgive him at that. But it was an interesting idea of like
the idea of
rehabilitation.
redemption. Yeah, everybody's capable of redemption.
It's a very very humanist and compassionate and optimistic outlook to think like that. That would be the norm for a society in the future. So it is very true to the Star Trek ethos and values.
I agree. Good place to end our discussion. Do you guys have any other thoughts on this episode before we sign off for today?
No, I think we said it all. I think we
Nice.
pretty much said it all.
And
Yeah.
audience, feel free to give us any more thoughts or anything like that. I'm gonna go ahead and give this episode a solid 7. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. So
Well, I thank God I'm sat down.
what do you mean? I haven't been giving 10s to TOS. Father complains about it. Actually, like, he's like, you give
I am
10s
so
to-
glad I'm sat down.
He says you give 10s to like all the new Star Trek, but you give TOS like 7s and 8s. Actually, I'm gonna bump it up to an 8. I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was really good. I gave it a lot of 10s in season 2 and season 1, I think. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I would actually even probably watch it again because it was so much fun. So yeah, it was pretty good.
Oh, one thing I've just remembered. Because I watched the remastered this yesterday, and I watched the original this morning today. Because obviously I've got the Blu-ray downstairs.
Oh yeah,
so
tell
I
us about
do
some of the
watch it.
differences. That's cool.
There was only minor differences, obviously, which was the special effects in space, but the Enterprise shot red phasers, not blue. Red phasers in this one, in the original one.
Really? We were just talking about this. Oh
yeah,
wow.
with this one, it was when they're shooting at the force field, you know, where they think they've got the weak point of the force field.
Yeah.
They actually fire red phasers.
That's interesting. Because we were wondering if the Strange New Worlds Enterprise would have blue phasers or red phasers or blue.
In the original effects of the original
torpedoes.
series, sometimes they're green, sometimes they're red, and sometimes they're blue.
Blue.
And the
That's
remastered, they
interesting.
made it all blue all the time. But
Really
I really like
consistent.
that blue look. So I would prefer Strange New Worlds be consistent with the blue of the TOS remaster.
Maybe they introduce different phaser sort of settings, and that produces different colors.
Yeah, it's 100% totally possible. But the last time we do see the blue, like torpedoes in Star Trek is the motion picture. After that, the torpedoes are always that red orange color.
Orangey red, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So that's interesting too. Let's see here. Subcommander says similar to Lenore Caridian's memories being adjusted or shifting of memory patterns mentioned in the Dagger of the Mind seem to be okay to radically change individuals' memories as treatment. Yeah, it is interesting. There are some treatments that people who have faced trauma can do, which is a form of like rewriting a traumatic memory, but with a different outlook. So like you'll remember it and then think of that same memory in oh, you know, this is interesting. I just realized I have to go look this up in more detail because there might be something connecting to Picard there. But anyways, you can actually, as a form of therapy, you can actually do this yourself. You can recall something that was traumatic or difficult for you, and if you recall the memory, because the way the mind works is like when you recall the memory, it like actually like retrieves it and then it rewrites it back to your brain. And in the rewriting process, you can insert another intention or like another emotion, or you can focus on something different about that memory. And when you do that, it actually will change the way the memory is. So it's kind of a neat concept that you can do yourself. Yes, Fathery, go ahead. Oh, yes. Yes, you can at the end. Yes, correct.
Do you want my rating?
Yeah, give us your rating and any final thoughts, Fathery.
I feel like I've said everything. You know, this episode has so many cool ideas. I don't really like the execution of it. I wish I liked it more because I appreciate the use of the universe and a lot of the ideas. It's one of those, in season 3 that I think it just drags on, and I wish that it just could have been a shorter TAS episode. But I would, at the end of the day, rank it. I'd give it 2 plagiarized sonnets out of 14 inmates on Queen's level 3.
Right on. I like that rating a lot. Father, before we go on to Ruben, what are you doing on Text Trek? And I know you already said it earlier, but if you could reiterate and let everyone know how to find you.
Well, we do a live show every Friday night here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central, in which we take a deep look at the latest episodes of new Star Trek. We take them apart beat by beat and analyze every part of the episode and talk about its connections to continuity, talk about our opinions on it, if we like it, if we don't like it, and we also make that available to listen to wherever you get your podcast. And when there's no new Star Trek, we talk about old Star Trek. We've covered the animated series, as a matter of fact. We've covered a lot of Deep Space Nine. We're going to get back to some Deep Space Nine stuff this summer.
With Dave, those are fun.
I watch Deep Space Nine for the 47th time. He's watching it for the first time, and so you get 2 very different perspectives. So yeah, I think we're going to pick up with season 5, which is a great season. So be on the lookout for that down the road. But right now, we're focused on Picard every week, and before long, in just a couple of weeks, in less than 3 weeks, we'll be covering Strange New Worlds.
Excellent. Ruben, what's going on with your rating for this episode? Final thoughts, and how can folks find you?
I think this episode is pretty mediocre for the most part. Not much interesting to say about it. It has potential to be really cool. As either what Father's saying, a TAS shorter episode, or redesigned in Strange New Worlds, as my dreams tell me should happen. But as far as my rating, tell me, Starfleet boy, how would you respond to Queen's level 3?
Very, very nice. Did
you can find me on Twitter at rmartian, where I post my interviews with film and TV industry professionals, and sometimes other people too, because I'm just weird like that, and I interview anyone.
Hey, I'm down to be interviewed if you want. I'll do an interview on your thing. Yeah,
you'll have to get him to autograph that picture though.
Yeah,
he's got to autograph that picture.
If anybody wants frame it, send me $9.99 to my PayPal.
I love that you printed it. It's so cool that you have a picture of me.
I'm gonna hang it up here.
Yeah.
With love.
Before we get to Admiral, and I hope the sound works for this because it wasn't working earlier, but I re-uploaded it, so hopefully that fixes it. Look at this cool introduction. Did y'all hear the transporter sound or no?
No, I didn't hear it.
Oh shit!
No, I'm just kidding. It worked. It worked perfectly. Okay. It was fantastic.
Daniel, final thoughts, ratings, and how can folks find you?
Yeah, that is the new introduction to my channel now on YouTube. Obviously, it's now Dadmiral UK. Twitter, Instagram.
That's a really good. By the way, that's from a self-portrait series that I did like many years ago.
Yeah,
like
really
it's
nice.
like 10 years old, I think.
Thank you for all the options.
Yes.
You chose well, Ruben. I like that one.
Yeah. Look at those dreamy Starfleet boy eyes.
I know, it's like I want.
It is. Those sexy eyes.
Sexy Italian model, Hello, please come to my high-rise apartment in. I don't know what that accent is. Sorry, Admiral. Go ahead.
Yeah, as said, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. I've now virtually migrated everything, so hopefully we're going to start with some new content, which I will be reviewing the Blue Bricks NCC 17018 build. The next build that I'll probably do as well is Discovery of the mini builds is the Discovery A, and yeah, so I'm getting very close now. I think I'm on about 92, 93 subscribers now on YouTube. So it's
Woohoo!
slowly coming along. It's slowly getting back.
Folks, subscribe
Um,
so Dadmiral can claim his name on YouTube.
I can
We
get
just
my
need a
name.
few
I
more.
can get
Yeah,
claim my URL.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah. As for rating, as I said, we said everything. I think I'm going to give it
Dadmer, what is it again
what it's
on
Dadmiral
YouTube?
_ UK. So yeah, rating 5 out of 10. As I said, it's an average episode. It's not the worst. It's not the best, but it's an average episode.
Before we switch from you there,
Right.
our Dadmiral, what's going on in the background with those cool looking Strange New World
Oh, my
uniforms?
Strange New Worlds. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
the gold one is actually that's the last time. Well, that one there, that's been given away. That was when I hit 4,000 subscribers recently. I did a giveaway, and I'm going to be sending that off next week. The blue one is I've just got, but this one here, which is from Picard. One second. Get my earphone back in. Yeah,
Nice.
this one. I put. This one is obviously season 1 Picard. I put a tweet out about a week ago, well, earlier this week, asking what I should do with it, and somebody came up with a great idea, which I'm going to do. I'm going to donate it with somebody that's either suffering from cancer, a Trekkie that's suffering from cancer, or a major illness. So just to give them a smile on their face. So if there is anybody, let me know, and I'll try and get it out there. Because obviously Jonathan Frakes and everything are pushing for cancer as well. So yeah, so this will be given to somebody, including obviously the com badge, as is, will be given to somebody who is very well deserving and obviously is not having the best of times in their life at the moment.
That's very
So
cool.
yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for doing that. And we're gonna go ahead and sign off with the special thing that Fathery's got here. Let's take a look here. Is
You
it
know,
coming up?
we talked about some Wayne's World and Rhapsody stuff earlier, and this is also going to give us like a little bit of a preview of when we finish the original series soon. We're going to be doing the animated
The
series of
animated
these
series.
Saturday
Yeah, I'm
discussions.
excited.
So here we go.
I am the captain of the Starship Enterprise.
Captain Kirk, this is Spock. Please step on the transporter.
Dilithium crystals hit by Klingon missiles. No!
I'm a doctor,
Not an actor.
not a milkman.
What does that mean?
And I'm sorry, he's dead, Jim.
Photon torpedo! Lieutenant Uhura, open hailing frequencies.
Yes, Captain Kirk. Opening hailing frequencies, sir.
Let's boldly go where no one's gone before. Beam me up, Mr. Scott. Sulu, go to warp.
Warp 3, sir.
No, that will be way too slow.
Warp 4, sir.
That still is way too slow.
Warp 5, sir.
It still is too damn slow.
Warp 6.
It's too damn slow.
Warp 7.
It's too damn slow. It's too damn slow! No, 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 no. Mr. Chekhov, Mr. Chekhov. I am firing torpedo.
That will not work and would be illogical to me. To me. To me.
Yes. Amazing. Amazing.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Absolutely brilliant.
Thank you for joining us. Folks, tune in tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time if you're caught up on Star Trek Picard and you want to see us talk about it. And then we'll start the cycle all over again next week with Thursday nights. We do a Picard Space on Twitter, which, by the way, Dadmiral, you'll be happy to know. We now call it the Picard Space, so it's just what it's called. So when Strange New Worlds appears, we'll call it the Strange New Space or something like that. It'll be funny. And then
Strange new space.
and then Fridays we do TQIF, starting off with Marcelo, who does a little review of TOS, and then we go over to Text Trek, then Starfleet Boy After Dark, and then Saturdays back here again. So look forward to seeing you guys next week. Live